This is the 217 Recovery Podcast with Corey Winfield.
You know, when people like reach out and ask for help and it's something as simple as, hey, shipping her a box of tampons.
The one thing about this girl is she's never asked me for anything. She may have hinted about tampons.
It is the 14th of February, 2023. People call this Valentine's Day. Hello, my name is Corey Winfield, and Marnie has the night off. She deserved it.
Yes, she does.
You know what I'm saying? Justin Burke is in the house, like literally in my house. You're in the studio. Welcome.
Well, thank you.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day to you as well.
I didn't bring you any chocolates.
Me neither. That's just weird.
It's a waste.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day is just such a waste.
To a sense.
If you buy cards and stuff, then yeah. Did you buy your love a card?
No.
Good job. I'm proud of you.
I got flowers.
Yeah.
And a little stuffed bear.
Yeah.
That was it.
I'm proud of you. Just don't buy cards. Cards are such a waste. Just take a piece of paper and write, honey, I love you to the moon and back or something. And then
Is that what you did?
Flowers. No, I didn't do that because we leave each other notes all the time.
Oh, that's sweet.
Well, at least she leaves me notes all the time.
Oh.
Saying, do the cat box and do this and do that and take out the trash and don't just lay around all day. And just kidding. She doesn't say that. She leaves little notes and it's like, I love you and stuff like that. So that's cute.
I got one of those the other day.
It makes you
Said
feel
you're
good.
beautiful. Love you.
Aw. It makes you feel good.
It does.
You know?
Boosts your self-confidence, your self-esteem.
Yeah. You're like, wow. Somebody is fooled. That's what I think. Now, but today though, because normally like, I don't play the whole Valentine's Day thing. And I think mostly it's because I'm broke a lot. So it makes it easier to say, can't really buy that for you, honey.
Right.
Except the card thing. Like we didn't even buy each other anniversary cards this year because it was like, why? We just saved $10. It was great. But she wasn't expecting it from me. And I went and dropped it off at her work because I wanted her to know that I do appreciate her and that I do love her. And you know, it's a Tuesday. And if I get to love my wife extra on a Tuesday, so be it, you know. And I had a couple of dollars in the bank account. So I figured, you know what? Let's just show her. So I dropped some flowers and it came with like a little bear. And I got her some chocolates because I'm always worried about she's not eating enough at work. So I was like, eat some chocolates. And of course, she didn't have one of them. And then we went to dinner. So early dinner at like 3 o'clock. That's the perfect time to go.
Right. You don't have to pay dinner price and beat the dinner crowd.
Well, here's the thing though, Justin, because that's what I was thinking. We get into dinner. It was good. Everything was fine. And then we get home and I'm like, all right, well, Justin's coming over. So we got an hour and some change, you know what I'm saying, right?
I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Then I come in the house and everything. It's like, oh, wait. She's like, my mom's here. What? Huh? Okay. And then I hear her talking to somebody. I'm like, who are you talking to out there? And she's like, oh, they want to come in and inspect the apartment or something. I was like, what? It's 5 something. Like, what are you talking about? Like, inspect the apartment for what? For cats? Like, I don't understand. Well, okay. And so then I was flustered and I was like, all right, whatever, man. I'm going to try to make a hat.
Looks nice.
Thank you.
I like it.
Did a little white on white. I had a all white hat. And then I used the Puma design. And well, that's what Marnie likes. It's because she's into Puma. And we found a font that was pretty much very close to Puma.
Got you.
And so we used that, I think, for our logo a couple years ago. And yeah, so I did one of those and I had it cut like 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. And finally I just decided to weed it and make it. Weed it, I'm
Nice.
talking about, because I have a Cricut and that's what you have to do is weed it. I'm not talking about like smoking weed on the hat. I'm saying that's what they call weeding it. It's like you take out all the stuff you don't want. And yeah, and then iron on little process, which I don't think I'm that good at, but it does the trick.
Yeah. Don't look bad. And they don't crinkled sideways.
Yeah. And we had a heat press. We still had the heat press, but it comes with like this attachment. You got to like unscrew things and put it on. And then you're just like cranking down on that son of a bitch, man. You're just like, and you're just looking at your hat going, oh, it's not going to make it. It's not going to make it. And so I got this little hat press from Cricut or whatever. And it's just handheld. It's little. And it comes with like a little thing you put in the hat. And it might have a wrinkle or two in it, but you can always iron those out later. But yeah, when you put that in that heat press and just crank down on it, you're just looking at your hat going, ooh, it's not going to be the same.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I like a fresh hat.
Yeah, that's why I invested in the Cricut handheld heat press for the hats.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's what I did today.
Let's see, what did I do today?
You went to jail today, didn't you?
I did go into a jail today.
Okay.
But first I showed up to my dentist appointment, and I thought that was today. No, Thursday. So I had to reschedule that because I have a ride to do Thursday.
Yes, you do.
So did that, went back home, did my little work meeting that I had to do. Then went and got the fiance flowers and a little teddy bear. Took them to her at work.
Yeah, that's my man.
Embarrassed her. That was great. She was all flustered.
That's what's up, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I went into Antrim County Jail and spread a little bit of hope and faith, like normal, on a Tuesday.
Nice.
So
I got a question. I gotta ask you something. So when you go in there, because you were once a person in jail, and didn't someone come see you kind of like that, or no?
no,
you're
I was in there during COVID.
Yeah, and your probation officer, or not probation officer, but your guy, was he your probation officer? He just said, figured out.
Yeah.
Okay, so they didn't have much help.
No.
Okay, because I was thinking that people would have came to see you, but like if somebody did, would you have had a chance to see him? How does that work? How does somebody sign up? Because when I was in jail, like we couldn't even get toilet paper.
I guess the process now, I was just talking to my brother about this, and he said they got life coaches and everything else going in there now. But when I was in there, we didn't have nobody. You could ask to talk to CMH and no one would come in, like you only spoke to them over the phone. So like they took away all your CMH appointments for whatever therapy you were going to get from them, but it wasn't really substance abuse.
Yeah.
No education in substance abuse. It was
Substance use disorder.
Yeah. It was just, how are you doing it? Mentally.
Yeah, because when I was in jail, I was like, look, like, I'm not a bad guy. First of all, I don't think I'm guilty. Of course, at that time, I didn't know what was going on. And I wasn't found guilty yet, but they were treating me like I was guilty. And I was like, look, I have a problem. I need to see somebody to talk about my substance use disorder and about my drinking and about the fact that I want to kill myself. And they were like, yeah, okay. And they just walked away and nobody ever did anything.
Wow.
And of course, that's Barron County Jail, which I don't know why they keep voting for Paul Bailey to be sheriff again. I mean, that to me is just insane. He needs to have more control on his jail. That's my personal opinion from being in that county and living there and experiencing his system. It's not fun. You don't want your kids going there, especially if your kid, has a substance use disorder, and something bad happens, heck, even if you have a gambling problem, and you wind up in the jail somehow because people will do crazy shit for gambler. I know a guy who said his mom died. And he's like telling everybody around town, my mom died, and like borrowed money from some lady, like just a real kind of scumbag. And then it all comes out, nope, she didn't even die. It's like, whoa. And I use the word scumbag because there was other things about this guy, but the fact that he had such a gambling problem that he went out and did all those other things, and there was supposed to be a police report filed. I don't know what's ever happened, but people can find themselves in jail, for that. So, be careful who you're voting in. The sheriff in Traverse City, he seems to understand, and he wants to start decriminalizing some of the possession charges, to like, look, like, yeah, we can throw the book at these guys, but that's not working.
Right.
And even some would say replacing the drug dealers, it's not working. But, at least you're getting them off the street. But I'd say the thing that if you really want to get rid of drug dealers, I mean, it's very simple. It's supply and demand.
That's right.
If we teach the youth, like, look, don't play with this. And it's not fun. It's not cool. This is what's going to happen to you. And people told me that too. and I still went out and tried things. But if we could really hit home in some kind of healthy educational way, and stop treating kids like they're stupid.
Right, because they're definitely not stupid.
No.
Like, I remember in school, like, we had DARE when I was in school, but, I mean, that was kind of like a joke, I mean, I can remember the DARE officer coming in and be like, well, this is a joint. How many of your parents smoke this? Like, you're incriminating your whole population. Like, that was bad.
Yeah, just keep me posted.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, let's tell you how that one's going to work out. And like this thing I shared on Instagram, I don't know, maybe a month ago, and it had these kids, and they all were kind of looking dumb, and the words were spelled wrong. And it was like, "No, officer, I haven't drank." Like I said, it was all spelled wrong. It looked stupid. It was like, I don't know whoever came up with that, and however they thought that was the winner. Blows my mind, because all you're doing right there is insulting kids. If a kid walks by and sees that, he's gonna be like, well, you ain't talking to me, because those guys are not me. Nothing in that whole photo represents me or my friends.
Right.
We're good kids. We play sports, and we like to drink on the weekend because we can steal this or drink this and no one knows. That's what we do. We're not getting in trouble.
Yeah.
And you might not at first, but then it becomes socially acceptable, and then you're off to the races, man. But if you can curve that, and like I said, with something smart, something intelligent, and I don't know the answers for that.
No, I don't even know. I mean,
but I can tell you a stupid poster like that is just gonna.
Yeah. It just doesn't catch.
No, you're just making fun of them. You're like, hey, you stupid kid. This is going to be you. If you drink, you'll be stupid.
Right.
And they're like, no, that's not me, man.
I can remember going to assemblies like that in school. Like, oh, that ain't going to be me. Yeah. They don't even portray my crew like that. Mm-hmm. Because we didn't act like that, like you just said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were different. We weren't like those other kids. And if you really break it down and look into it real deep, like back in my school, it was the smokers, and the smokers were outside smoking.
Mm-hmm.
And if you really want to dig into it, I'd say 98% of those kids that were smoking out there on the corner during school, they had issues at home. They straight up did, and I know this to be a fact today. Again, not every single one of them. I said 98%. But why was the other one doing it? Like, is it because he felt like a nerd?
Social acceptance?
Yeah. That's what was he trying to do that to fit in because he felt like a nerd or felt like an outcast, whatever you want to call the nerd or an outcast? Did he feel that way and thought, hey, I can hang out with these guys and I'll be cool. And then those guys were the guys that were the first to smoke weed, at least that I knew of.
Mm-hmm.
And, I didn't really want anything to do with those people, those guys, And then the drinking, started happening. I'm trying to think of what grade I was in when it really 10th grade, maybe. We go to my buddy's house, and, back then that was like, hey, just keep it in the basement. At least if you're drinking here, and at least I know where you're here and I can watch you and whatever. Not watch you, but if something happens, and here's a 6-pack, like you kids aren't going to go too crazy with that. And back then a 6-pack would get you pretty buzzed up.
Yeah, it'd get you pretty lit.
And we might have had a 12-pack, but I'm just saying, like, it wasn't like we had 8 cases of beer down there or anything like that. But still, that's kind of when it started. And then you start realizing, oh, now those kids that, were out smoking that I didn't really do nothing with, out smoking weed, well, they drink too. Oh, all right, cool. So then you start going to parties and you start meeting these other kids, and then someone's passing a joint around. And it was my best friend. The first time I ever smoked weed, it was my best friend, who is the U.S. Marshal now, which is pretty funny. Like, he doesn't talk to me or anything now. I think that's probably why. I don't know, but he's probably just like, probably better stay away from Corey. But
probably.
Maybe, I don't know. But he was my best friend in high school, and and I was like, well, hell, if he's doing it, then he said it's better than drinking because you're not hungover. And I tried it, and I thought, okay, this isn't as bad as they told me, and that started me down a path of disbelieving what people were telling me about drugs.
Right, exactly.
And then, oh, cocaine, your heart will explode. And I tried that and was like, well, my heart didn't explode. I ran out though. That sucked. but then it was just like, okay, well, they think they lied to me about that. And then I was on probation. Actually, I was on probation before I tried coke, but when I was on probation, they tested me for marijuana and cocaine. At that time, I didn't mess with cocaine or anything. And that's when the drinking really kind of started, because they didn't test me for that. And then it was like, hey, you want to try some acid? And I was like, sure, there's no cocaine in it, is there? And they're like, no. I'm like, all right, then let's go.
Yeah, I never did acid, but I ate a lot of mushrooms though.
Yeah, I did that once. I don't think I ate enough, but I don't know. It was like, didn't taste very good. I remember that.
But that's been a known fact for people on probation though, to try to skip it, go turn to hallucinogenics because they can't test for it.
Yeah. And, I still wanted to be cool. I think I was like 19 or something. So I still wanted to be in that, that scene of, partying and stuff. So yeah, it was something that I was trying, experimenting with. And I was like, oh, that wasn't that bad. And so it just led me down this whole path of it's really not that bad. And then back to drinking, it started just taking off, and I left the weed behind. I mean, I remember when my stepfather and my brother helped me move from Benton Harbor to Kalamazoo, because I got a job at RKR, and they were helping me move, and they picked up the couch and they start to move it out, and there's a plate of weed, like broken up and everything, just a big old plate of weed. And I was like, huh. I forgot about that. And it was all dried up, That's what alcohol did to me. Like, I forgot I even had a whole plate of weed underneath my couch. Totally forgot.
Dang.
Like that's crazy. But drinking just took over, man. And I moved to Kalamazoo, and it was just crazy drinking, and I didn't know anybody there, and it was like a perfect excuse almost. But it just kept getting worse and worse. And of course, thinking, hey, I don't get in trouble, I don't do bad things, I don't have a problem, because I associated with, well, you have a problem when you get in trouble.
Right.
Even though there was relationships, there was friends, people that were just like not wanting to hang out with me, I still was like, yeah, whatever. And when I moved to Texas, it pretty much came down to, it cost me a job. And then it came down to the person that I was with, she's like, nope. Get out. And it's like, okay. I mean, she didn't really say it like that, but she kind of did. She was like, stop drinking, get out. I was like, okay. And I was like, I wanted to leave anyway. I want to be in management. I want to figure something else out. So I drove back home, then went back to Arkansas. But that's when it got even more serious. And I didn't realize it at the time, because now I am again in a new city, Fort Smith, Arkansas. I know zero people. It's hot. I don't like being hot. And it was not what I expected. It was horrible. So I would come home and I would drink probably about 18 beers a night, because I would get a case, and every day I'd have to get another case, because there was only like 4 or 5 left in there, 6 maybe. So it was a lot of beer, and it was the Milwaukee's Best. So it was like high alcohol, and it was gross. And I was still holding it together though, man. I didn't have a problem, even though people in my life knew I did.
Right.
But you can't tell somebody that, and at this point is a very dangerous point, because drunk driving can happen. You can just die, who knows what can happen, when you're drunk. You put yourself in a lot of bad situations sometimes. So then it went, I bought my own house, so I'm still doing great, got a new car, got promotion, everything's awesome. And then I met this woman, and it wasn't her fault at all. It was definitely my fault. But she just drank hard liquor, and I started drinking hard liquor with her. And I had sworn off hard liquor when I was like 23, 24. Again, if I was at a bar and somebody bought me a shot, I would do it. But I wasn't buying it.
Right.
Because I thought that I became a different person, and I figured, I'll just switch to beer. Even though that still cost me relationships. I was just drinking beer, and women were like, get out. Like, I don't want you here. Like, I wasn't understanding. Like, it wasn't that I was drinking beer. It was that I was drunk. If I drank water and it made me drunk, they would have said, like, don't drink water, because I don't like you when you're drunk. So it was hard for me to understand all that then. And the hard liquor just took its toll. Like, it got to a point where, I was hiding bottles in my bathroom closet underneath some clothes, and I had one under the couch, and just everywhere. And if you've talked to people who drink, that this is common. You hide the bottle somewhere, maybe in the garage or somewhere where you're going to walk into a place with just a beer. Like, why would I walk into a bathroom with a beer? But I did it. And then I would slam the pint and come out with that same beer. Nope.
Right.
I'm just drinking beer. Okay. And then one day, I guess I didn't expect her to clean under the couch. And she's like, what is this? What is this empty bottle of vodka? I was like, oh, must have forgot it there.
Right.
It's like, you were hiding it? You're hiding bottles now? And I was like, what? What are you talking about? I don't remember if I came clean or not. Maybe I did. And maybe I just was like, I didn't expect you to clean under there. So I don't know. But it just got sad and sad and sad. And finally she was like, nope, no thanks. I'm out. So she left. And then it was just like even more drinking, and got to the point to where, my liver shut down and kidneys shut down. And it was not a good time. It hurt like a mother.
I bet.
And I was yellow. So I turned jaundice, and going to the hospital, and they're like, we got to get you to the hospital immediately. Because I went into the gastrologist or whatever, and he's like, you got to go there now. Like, your liver hasn't been working for about 4 days. Like, he was like, if you would have went home and went to sleep, you would have not woken up.
Wow.
And I was like, that's crazy. You're just trying to ruin my good time. And he's like, you can't drink anymore. I was like, whatever. Okay. And then I started believing it. Like, you know what? You're right. I can't drink anymore, and I don't want to. Damn it. I almost died. That's enough, right?
Right.
Well,
You think?
well, a normal person would assume that. And by saying normal, I mean somebody who's not that understanding or new to addiction and recovery and understanding how it all works with the brain. Because I thought, sure, I'm not going to drink again, man. I almost died. Like, if you went on a crazy ride at an amusement park and it flung you off and you almost died, you probably wouldn't go on that ride again.
No.
Right?
Safe bet. No.
Right. And that's the normal. That's what I mean by normal person. That's what somebody like that would think. But they don't understand is drugs. It's not like that ride.
No,
it's a
not at
totally
all.
different ride. It's a ride we've been on a million times, and we've been just fine. And sure, the ride could have been bumpy sometimes, but damn it, it was fun. And you know what? It makes us feel better when we're on that ride. And then everybody we've taken on that ride with us means something. And every little corner of that ride, it has a memory. And every time we go by this other corner, we remember that, and we remember those people and those faces and those things, and it was so much fun, and it made me feel better. Bottom line is, it made me feel better. And so when I would come home from work, depressed, alone, not liking the situation I'm in, but I'm a guy, so I just gotta suck it up. They pull your bootstraps up. Come on, get with it.
Right.
So I can't talk to a therapist or anything, and I don't need none of that AA crap, is what I said at the time. I don't need none of that. It's a cult. And that didn't work out so hot for me. Like 3 months later, and I'm drinking again. And if you would have said that to me when I left the hospital, I would have said, you are full of crap. Like, there's no way I'm going to be drinking in 3 months. But that's what it does to your brain, and that's what I think it takes. It takes people a long time to understand that. And when they look at their son or their daughter and they're like, this is the 8th time, like, why can't you stop? I remember my parents saying something like that to me, like, why can't you just stop? Maybe it was my stepdad, maybe it was my mom, maybe it was both of them, who knows? It was my little brother, maybe it was everybody, man. Why can't you just stop? Because
You can't.
it doesn't work that way. I'm not replacing it with anything. And I'm sure some people can. Some people can just stop. I mean, you had a little jail time in there to kind of
Right.
buffer zone you, and then you actually go into treatment and realizing, wait a minute, there's a chance for me to better my life.
Yeah, but without that jail stay, I don't know where I'd be at, though. I mean, first time in treatment, I would have been like, oh, well, relapse is part of treatment.
Right.
I've heard that so many times, and it's really wrong. It's horrible to have that mentality, to say that to somebody, because you could just have that one guy in that room first time ever did treatment and just gets it, because he had that moment of clarity.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you take that away and you may never experience that again.
Yeah. Yeah, that bugs me when people say that relapse is part of recovery, and it's not. It's part of addiction.
Right.
So if you're going to ever say that to somebody, be like, hey, or somebody says to you, well, I just relapsed, man. It's a part of recovery. You say, no. Relapse is part of addiction.
Right.
You just kind of make sure you clear that up, because when people say that, it drives me nuts. And I've heard people who are psychologists, just all kinds of different therapists that I've heard say that. And I'm like, hold on. Like, break it down and tell me how it is. Well, because it's part of recovery. No, it's not.
It's part of the addiction.
Yeah. Part of recovery is going to AA, meeting new people, finding healthy things to do. That's part of recovery.
Right.
Learning about yourself, filling yourself out and understanding yourself when you need to go to a meeting, when you need to meditate, when you need to call Justin, when you need to call up Tyrone, like when you need to call different people, you need to have that awareness about yourself. And if you don't, it can catch you in a week or 2 or 3, it's waiting for you.
Right. Very easily.
And just the littlest crack can really bust it wide open.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just a little bit of my story about how it went from, being in school and kind of going through everything to actually going to the hospital and almost dying. And was the messaging right when I was younger? I don't know. Apparently it wasn't enough to catch me.
No.
And I'm sure some people saw that stuff with the person with the ash or the cigarette butts on their tongue, and they probably never smoked. I don't know. Maybe that worked for them. I saw those posters everywhere, and I didn't smoke during high school, but after high school I started because I started smoking weed.
I started smoking at a young age. I started drinking at a young age. It was socially accepted in my area.
Your family situation, and no knock on anybody, I'm not saying names or anything, but it probably wasn't the best.
No.
And I think if teachers or counselors or whoever can notice that and kind of stop that, like we've talked about this before, instead of suspending the kid for 2 weeks, kicking him off the basketball team, which is the only good thing he's got going for him, he loves going to basketball practice and all that, and comes home, does homework because he has to, and you're going to take that away from him because he was smoking or vaping or whatever. How about you talk to him? How about you find out what's going on?
Even yourself.
Yeah.
Have some empathy.
Yeah. But do they not have time? Is that what it is?
Must be.
Is that why, people should homeschool their kids? Because that way you could at least teach them what you would like them to know.
Right.
People bitch all the time about schools. They're like, oh, school ain't teaching my kid nothing. Like,
but what are you teaching them?
Yeah. Why are you relying on the school to teach them anything?
Exactly.
I send them there because we have to. Otherwise I go to jail. But no, you can homeschool your kids. My friend Ed and his wife did, and their kids are brilliant. And I don't see anything wrong with that. And you're actually teaching them.
Right.
And it's funny because if you go back in the history books, like the stuff I was learning, they don't even teach anymore.
Heck no.
Because it's not even true. Like the whole Darwin thing about we came from fish and then apes and all that crap. No, they don't even teach that anymore because it was all BS. And like the things that they don't teach us, like, do you ever have a history book with Mount Rushmore on it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know that land was stolen from the Native Americans, and they just were like, we're going to do it here. And the Native Americans were like, no, you're not. And they're like, yeah, we are.
Yep.
And there's still a big deal about that today. And there should be. But there it is right on the history books. Oh, here's the president. How about you tell me about whose land you stole that from? Like straight up stole from them.
Right.
And like that's the stuff we need to teach the kids, because that's the stuff that shouldn't be repeated.
No.
When they say history repeats itself, but no, I didn't learn any of that stuff. No.
And we wonder why we have so much problem everywhere else and why people just try to take stuff over. Well, we've seen it firsthand,
Yeah.
I mean, our government is really a bully government.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we spend more than anybody else on a lot of things. And for what? Just be number one in defense?
Yeah. But we have cell phones and stuff. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because like back in the day, they were saying like, hey, they're spending millions of dollars on going to space, but yet we got all these homeless people out here. And it's like, well, but looking back, you can go, what? Because now we got cell phones and stuff. It's pretty cool. So is it worth it? I don't know. But no, I mean, they were saying, I was watching the show the other day and they were saying like, because of cell phones, like the guy, George Floyd, you know, like that was recorded, and like all these things that people are recording now with their phones, you know, that if somebody didn't have a phone, never happened. Nope. We don't know why he died. You know, so it is kind of interesting, but I heard that we shot down some UFOs.
Yeah. Supposedly.
One here over Lake Michigan.
Lake Huron.
Oh, it'd been cooler if it was Lake Michigan.
No, Lake Huron, the other side of the state.
I think they synced it on Lake Michigan, though.
Yeah. I'm not really for sure. I didn't really follow the story.
You don't care about aliens?
No.
Like, you think that would be a bigger story, right?
Mm-hmm.
But see, I want to know is, first of all, like, I was having a hard time understanding it because, I mean, F-16s are pretty fast or whatever they're using, but I don't see it shooting down a UFO. Like, you don't think a UFO is going to, because you've seen these pictures on TV about them just, they go from here to like Utah in a second.
Yeah, like at light speed.
Yeah, I don't see them just sitting around waiting on Maverick to get missile lock.
And Goose.
Goose is dead. Goose is kid. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I
and
don't.
Three of them.
Yeah, especially after the Chinese weather balloon just went over everything it wanted to.
Yeah, well, that's like the first time we shot one down. Like Obama let it roll through, Trump let it roll through. Like all the other presidents, they had this deal with the same thing. I think Trump let it roll through twice.
Yeah,
he's like, okay, just a weather balloon. And Biden was just like, oh hell no! Wait till that gets out of off of everything and then blow it the hell away.
Right.
I think that's what he said.
It's pretty good though. I mean, at least he's doing something.
Yeah, it should have been shot down. And then China was like, oh, that's just a weather balloon or whatever they said. And then it find out, oh, no, that there was it was actually more in-depth spy tracking than what we had originally thought.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we shot it down.
After we recovered it.
If we had an American balloon just floating around China and they shot it down, would you be pissed?
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I'd be like, yeah, you got us. Like, I don't know. I'd be like, oops.
Be like, that was my weather balloon.
We should send a turtle over there.
Right.
Just a turtle with a camera on it. No, just a turtle. No turtle soup today. You know, our camera's getting boiled. I'm like, damn it. Should have went with a pig. No. But anyway, we got to wrap it up, though, because we have to go speak at a treatment center to some men.
Nice. Can't wait.
Happy Valentine's Day, Justin.
Yes, you too.
More details on 217 Recovery. Check out our website, 217recovery.com, and download the app, which is free in your app store.
Thanks for listening to the 217 Recovery Podcast. Win a bunch of free shit from 217 Recovery. Go to the app or the website, 217recovery.com.